hours, and we will continue our struggle of trying to figure out what to say every night, because it's never easy. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Lawrence. Thanks.
Thank you. He is a weak man who has always longed to be a strong man, and he is a weak man's idea of a strong man. The Trump era is possible only because so many people have been so fooled by fake strength. Everything I just said was written by Anand Giridharadas, who will join us at the end of this hour on a night when we need a big thinker who happens to be a brilliant writer to help us understand what we've been through over the weekend and today and the week that preceded that, what we're going through right now, this moment that can feel so overwhelming to many of us, but has also been energizing to voters who have now decided to give Joe Biden his biggest lead in the polls yet. The latest NBC poll shows the first chipping away of the Trump base by Joe Biden, and that poll was taken before Donald Trump was forced to admit that he is not Superman and that he tested positive for coronavirus, an illness that he recently said affects, quote, these were his words, virtually nobody. He is now one of those nobodies. The President of the United States was asked 2 questions today, both of which he refused to answer.
Mr. President, how many staff are sick? How many of your staff are sick?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Do you think you might be a super spreader, Mr. President?
Before the president left a fully equipped hospital to resume residence in the White House, which has the equivalent of a very good small town hospital inside it, his doctor, who is a Navy commander who takes orders from the president, was asked what it would be like when the president returned to the White House.
Physically going to be in the White House, and what does that look like? How do you keep him safely quarantined?
I wish I could go into that more, but I just can't.
Here is what it looked like. A Trump TV production of Donald Trump returning to the White House, taking off the mask immediately, not isolating at all, having several staffers hover around him and come within inches of him, while forcing a still photographer and a video photographer to stand very close to him to capture images for his re-election campaign, where he is now running 14 points behind Joe Biden. That NBC poll was taken before Donald Trump's supporters discovered that he too could be infected with the coronavirus. The poll shows Joe Biden with a 14-point lead, and it shows Donald Trump having lost 4 percentage points of his base of support, dropping 43 to 39 in that poll, with Joe Biden now running at 53. Donald Trump has now released the campaign video that he made when he arrived at the White House tonight. It is a video of a very sick man with very sick ideas. In the video, the President of the United States, who ignores his coronavirus task force, actually says, quote, I learned so much about coronavirus, which is something no sane president would admit at this stage of the coronavirus pandemic. He also says this about the coronavirus: don't let it dominate you. Don't be afraid of it. You're going to beat it. As of tonight, 211,052 Americans did not beat it. They have died from the coronavirus. Donald Trump is telling you, though, that you're going to beat it. Donald Trump is telling you, don't be afraid of the deadly coronavirus. No one on earth has done more to spread the coronavirus than Donald Trump. That was the finding of a study last week that showed Donald Trump was the single biggest purveyor of false information about the coronavirus in the world, That false information has killed people in the United States and around the world, and now Donald Trump himself is a possible spreader of the actual virus directly to the people around him. The Washington Post quotes one Secret Service agent saying, quote, "He's not even pretending to care now." Another Secret Service agent told a confidant, "He's never cared about us." Now, I'm going to show you another deeply perverse statement that Donald Trump made tonight on that video, and I will let him say it in his own words, with his own voice. You will hear that, but with the appropriate warning about the utter insanity of it when I introduce it during our discussion, when we will have experts ready to immediately dismantle the madness of what you will hear the president say. The video he recorded is much too dangerous to play in its entirety for a television audience, so we will handle it carefully in our discussion. Once again today, the president's doctor, possibly on orders from his commander-in-chief, refused to answer the most important questions.
On testing, can you tell us when he had his last negative test? Was it Thursday? Was it Wednesday? When do you remember when he had his last negative test?
I don't want to go backwards.
Another version of that question is, what did the president know and when did he know it? When did he know he was exposed to COVID-19? When did he know he had the infection, COVID-19? Did he go to the debate in Cleveland on Tuesday knowing that he would test positive at the debate location? And is that why he avoided being tested at the debate location? It is now well documented that Donald Trump has been running a cover-up of the spread of the coronavirus in the White House. The Wall Street Journal reports President Trump didn't disclose a positive result from a rapid test for COVID-19 on Thursday while awaiting the findings from a more thorough coronavirus screening. According to people familiar with the matter, Mr. Trump received a positive result on Thursday evening before making an appearance on Fox News in which he didn't reveal those results. Instead, he confirmed earlier reports that one of his top aides had tested positive for coronavirus and mentioned the second test he had taken that night for which he was awaiting results. As the virus spread among the people closest to him, Mr. Trump also asked one advisor not to disclose results of their own positive test. "Don't tell anyone," Mr. Trump said, according to a person familiar with the conversation. After the White House press secretary was forced to announce today that she now has coronavirus, ABC reports multiple White House sources told ABC News there is a full-blown freakout in the administration waiting to see who will be next to test positive, with aides not trusting each other and some trying to find ways to avoid coming into work at all. The sources added that there weren't many staffers in the West Wing Monday afternoon, and there was a lot of regret for not taking the coronavirus more seriously by not wearing masks and social distancing regularly. Leading off our discussion tonight, Shannon Pettypiece, senior White House reporter for NBC News Digital, and Dr. Zeke Emanuel, former White House health policy advisor during the Obama administration and MSNBC senior medical contributor. And Zeke, now that you're with us, I think it is safe, with warning, to play what the president said in his campaign video that he recorded at the White House tonight. Viewers should know that what you're about to hear is utterly insane and dangerous. Let's listen to this.
I know there's a risk, there's a danger, but that's okay. And now I'm better, and maybe I'm immune, I don't know. But don't let it dominate your lives. Get out there, be careful. We have the best medicines in the world.
Dr. Emanuel, your reaction to that?
I think insane is right. Be careful. This man was anything but careful, and he set a norm that derided and mocked people who were careful, who kept 6 feet distance, who wore a mask, who did hand hygiene, and who did not go into crowds larger than 10 or 20 people. His entire event for Amy Coney Barrett was, a violation of every one of the be careful requirements set out by public health experts. So he just doesn't know what he's talking about. And it's obvious that contracting COVID and obviously having difficulty breathing hasn't made him learn anything.
Shannon, with the number goes up virtually every day now. We had the White House press secretary forced to announce today that she has tested positive for the virus. Will we ever know everyone who will have tested positive for the virus who was in attendance at the Rose Garden introduction of the Supreme Court nominee?
It's interesting. I'm not sure we'll ever even know how many people in the White House are infected because a lot of staffers are telling us they're essentially on their own. You mentioned, Lawrence, the contact tracing that doesn't seem to be occurring from this Rose Garden event, and a number of sources who have been there are saying they have not been contacted by anyone. Within the White House itself, though, you mentioned Kayleigh McEnany, two of her deputies announced today that they were infected. But other than that, other staffers who aren't showing up at the White House and getting a test when they go in, if they are now deciding to stay home, they're not getting testing. So we might not know how many people in the White House are being infected. And a lot of White House staffers aren't routinely tested. Those who are in that senior level, who come in regular contact with the president and then the very top advisors, they tend to get a bit of routine testing, but on the lower level, those people don't. And certainly on the staff level, or people who work in the residence or on the maintenance end, those are the people who are still coming into the White House regularly. They don't have the option of working from home. And they're essentially left on their own to try and navigate this virus, because the White House is not changing their protocols at all to try and track down how many people in the White House may be ill at this point.
Zeke, the president said tonight in his campaign video, he told